I know, you all were expecting Dawn Flood, but as a new member of Student Leadership Services, I wanted to be able to take a turn at presenting to you our third video that we're doing specifically for students. And I'm joined today by my trusty assistant Banshee for at least a little while she sits here and participates. And thanks to my camera woman, my daughter, who is a senior at Milford High School. Before we get started on our topic today, which is anger, I wanted to remind you to take the opportunity, if you haven't done so yet, and check out our social media pages at SLS Today on Facebook and YouTube, where you can watch the videos that we've done on stress and anxiety and anger and uncertainty. For today's lesson, you'll just need a few simple materials. You'll need 3 to 5 pieces of paper, and it could be scrap paper or sticky notes or pieces of a magazine, just something to write on. And you'll need an envelope or another small container of some sort, like a little Tupperware or coffee cup or plastic cup, just something to put the paper in when you're finished. You'll be able to fold it up, so it doesn't have to be a big container. And you also need something to write with. So as I'm sure you are already well aware, this is a difficult time for everyone, and I mean everyone across the world. But it's really important to remember that you're not alone. And millions of people across the world are feeling the same way you are. And hopefully you can find some comfort in that. And although many of the emotions you have right now are very unpleasant, you're likely stressed, you're probably angry, there's also many emotions we're experiencing that are pleasant emotions, like love and compassion and empathy. So like I said, we're going to talk about anger today, and I think it's important to note that anger is a normal emotion. It's not good or it's not bad, and we usually feel angry when we can't get something that we want or when maybe somebody hurts us emotionally or physically. And there's so much change that we're all going through right now, and even though we know that those changes are to make us safer and healthier, it still might make you angry, and that's okay. I'm angry too. I'm angry I can't be in your classroom with you. I'm angry that my daughter's graduation probably won't happen for several months. And I'm angry at COVID-19, if you can be angry at a virus, I mean. So anyway, I want you to take your 3 to 5 pieces of paper and take a few minutes to write down, one on each piece of paper, some things that are making you angry right now. And you can pause the video while you do that, and then I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. So I hope you wrote down the things that are making you angry on your slips of paper. I wanted to take an opportunity to share mine. So of course, the one I mentioned, I'm angry about not being able to be in your classroom with you. I was just getting to know some of you in February and March, beginning of March, when I was visiting classes. So I'm very angry that I can no longer be with you in your classroom. Another thing that's making me angry, like I mentioned, is COVID-19. If it's possible to hate a virus and be really mad at it, I am. And then the next one of the things that really makes me angry is when I go out to the store and I see that people are leaving gloves on the ground. I think it's great that people are wearing gloves to keep themselves safe and others safe and healthy. But when people don't throw them in the garbage and they leave them on the ground, that makes me very angry. So what I want you to do now is I want you to look back at the things that are making you angry, and on the same piece of paper, I want you to write down what you did about it. How did you react when you had those situations that make you angry? And people deal with anger in a variety of ways. Maybe you do nothing, or maybe you just walk away. Maybe you lash out or yell or refuse to talk, or maybe you actually sit down and talk it out. So think about the situations that are making you angry and how did you deal with them, and take a few minutes to write those down on your paper. Pause the video to do so, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back. Banshee and I are still here, so I hope you took the time to write down the way you responded to each of those things. So I wanted to go ahead and share mine. For mine of not being able to be in your classroom, I'm making these videos with Dawn so that we can try to connect with you in the way that we're using the technology tools that we have available to us. It's not perfect, but we're doing the best that we can in these circumstances. The next one I had for gloves on the ground that was making me angry at the store. I keep extra gloves in my car now, so I just put my gloves on and I've gone into the parking lot and picked up the gloves on the ground and put them in the garbage can. And then the last one, COVID-19. I'm not really sure how to be mad at a virus, but I still am. And so right now, the best thing that I can do to deal with that is to make sure that I'm following the rules and I'm doing what I can do to keep my family safe and healthy. And so we're going to talk about some more strategies that I think that might be helpful to you to help deal with things that make you angry. But before we do that, I'd like to do a fun one. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to crumple up your pieces of paper, and we're going to use some energy to take out our anger. And I want you to take your pieces of paper all crumbled up, and I want you to throw them as hard as you can, but not at anybody, although I might throw them at the camera. So are you ready? Crumble up your pieces of paper and throw them. I feel better already. See, Bianchi, do you feel better, Bianchi? All right. So now that you've thrown those across the room, I want you to pause the video and pick up your pieces of paper, and I want you to uncrumple them and flip them over to the other side. Hey, I'm back. You'll notice Banshee's not here. She's tired from retrieving my crumpled pieces of paper, so she had to go take a nap. So let's take a minute to talk about some strategies that you can use to help you deal with situations that make you angry. The first one, if you watched our video on stress and anxiety, we talked about quiet strategies, and those strategies include connecting, supporting, and healthy time use. So by connecting, I mean staying connected to people you love and your friends, family, extended family, and so on. So I don't know about you, but our family has been using Zoom and FaceTime to have virtual get-togethers to spend some time with each other. Another thing that's a good quiet strategy is to make sure that you're supporting your family and friends, and particularly your immediate family, the people in your household. Make sure you're being helpful and spending quality time with each other. And then also that you're using your time in a healthy way. It's hard when you get into a new routine and you have all this free time on your hands. So make sure you're spending some time each day to exercise, get good sleep, help around the house, get some time outside, maybe read a book, and now do some homework now that officially online learning is starting. Make sure you're doing your homework. So those are some quiet strategies that we can use. The next strategy I want to talk about is warning light. Sometimes when you get angry, it's very easy to react very quickly to that emotion of anger. And so a warning light strategy is an easy strategy to use because you just picture in your head a street light, and that street light is flashing. And when you picture that street light flashing, you just pause and watch that street light flashing in your head and calm yourself down a little bit before you respond to what's making you angry. So warning light can be a really helpful strategy. The next strategy is a math strategy, and that's counting to 10 or higher, because we can't count and be angry at the same time. So you could count to 10, or you could count to 1,000 by 10s, or by 3s, or by 7s, or whatever counting strategy you want to use to distract yourself from what's making you angry. Gives you an opportunity to calm down and think about a better way to maybe handle the situation. The next one I want to talk about, which is also a great strategy, is the 24-hour rule. The 24-hour rule means, my paper's flopping there, 24-hour rule means that you take 24 hours after something upsets you to respond to it. That way you have an opportunity to think, to calm down, to consider the situation carefully before you respond. So the 24-hour rule is a great strategy, especially I think when it comes to brothers and sisters. The next strategy is called iMessages or talk it out. So using iMessages or talking it out is when something is making you angry and you take the time to either sit down with the person, if it's in your family, or right now, have a phone call or a FaceTime with the person to talk calmly about the situation and express yourself. So an iMessage sounds like, I feel angry when you didn't text me back, or I feel angry that you borrowed my book without asking. So using iMessage and messages and taking the time to sit down and talk with someone can really help deal with a situation that makes you angry in a healthy way. And the last one I want to talk about is reframing. Sometimes things that make us angry aren't really what we thought they were at all. So if you get into a situation that makes you angry, think about that situation for the moment and try to reframe it. Was that person really trying to make me angry? Were they trying to hurt me? Maybe you might find out that that wasn't the case at all. And maybe that person is just upset and didn't know how to handle their own emotions, and they weren't actually meaning to do something hurtful to you. So think about all of those strategies, and now I want you to go back to your crumpled pieces of paper, and here are mine, and I want you to flip them over, and on the back, if there are situations that make you mad where you think you could have done a better job at handling your anger, choose from some of the strategies and go ahead and write those on the back. But if in some of the examples that you gave of things that made you angry and how you responded to them, if you feel that you responded to them in a healthy way, then just leave them how they are. But if you think you wanted to change them, go ahead and on the back, write those strategies. I'll give you a few minutes. I'll go ahead and pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. So I hope you took the time to write down some different strategies that you could use to help you handle situations that make you angry in a healthy, positive way. So initially, when I found out I couldn't be in your classroom, I didn't really handle that in the most healthy way. It took me about a week of pouting before Dawn and I came up with the idea to do these videos for you. So sometimes it takes a while for you to get over your anger and deal with it in a healthy way. So that's my first one. My second one, for being angry at COVID-19, I used quiet strategies that we had discussed in the anxiety and stress video. And those were helpful to me initially to make sure I'm keeping my family safe and healthy and that we're spending time together as a family. But recently, we've decided that we wanted to do a better job of dealing with that as the anger of the situation by working harder at connecting with others. And the way our family is doing that is we're making some masks for our family and neighbors, and we're also donating money to local food pantries because we know there are a lot of families in need right now. And so for us, we feel that's another healthy strategy we can use because it's hard to be angry at a virus. And then the last one with the gloves on the ground. The strategy that I used for that was reframing. So instead of getting mad at the people who are throwing the gloves on the ground, I decided to reframe that situation in maybe they didn't realize that could be hurtful to people, or maybe they had them in their pocket and they fell out of their pocket and onto the ground. So I chose to reframe that situation and then clean up those gloves, of course. So you may have other strategies that you use, and as long as those strategies are positive and healthy and don't make things worse, then that means those are the right strategies. So what I want you to do now, and I told you at the beginning of the lesson that you'll either need an envelope or a container of some kind. I want you to crumble your notes back up with your strategies on the back, and I want you to put them in your container, and I want you to save those so that the next time something happens to make you angry, you can take those out and be reminded of some of the strategies that you've learned. And if you need to let off a little steam, you can go ahead and throw them across the room again. Thanks again for listening to this video today. If you haven't had a chance to watch the other ones, we welcome you to do so. And check us out on social media on Facebook, Instagram at SLS Today, and of course YouTube for this video. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Banshee saw we stopped the video and she was really upset and she wanted to say goodbye. So say bye, Banshee.